last week, we had a snowstorm there.
Okay. Photo of the meeting, pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States. of America, one nation, indivisible, with justice for all. There is no Monday night football, but that doesn't mean it has to be a short meeting, is it? The Overson.
There is.
Chair comments, the board met in executive session to discuss personnel and litigation. Action items, do we have any, John? No action items at this point? No. Presentation of the 2024 final budget.
Chairman, the assessment is recommended by the administration from the budget. As you recall, there's no tax increase provided. So approximately $1.9 million worth of investments. Attachments. Employees will budgeted for a 3.5% salary increase. The administration recommends that the board consider the final budget later in the meeting.
Okay. All right. Any questions at this point? Subdivision land development projects. We don't have anything for discussion tonight? No. Zoning hearing board applications, 545 West Butler Avenue.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. 545 West Butler Avenue, that's, as you know, the corner of West Butler and County Line Road. The applicant has filed an application for two variances, one being a variance regarding the number of parking spaces, the other being a setback variance. It is the solicitor has two recommendations this evening. One is that the board vote to oppose those applications. This is a project that hasn't really been before the board before in much detail. But I know you've heard about it before. We're asking that, or I'm recommending that you authorize the solicitor's office to oppose those applications. Further, and before that, I'm also recommending that the board authorize the township engineer to do a full zoning analysis of the property. In discussions with staff, we already believe that there is one potential that has not been requested. And we'd like to do a full zoning workup to make sure that we're handling everything the first time, the right time.
I'll make a motion for the board to send our solicitor to the meeting to oppose the 545 West Butler and to have the township engineer perform a zoning review of aforementioned project.
There's a second.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
756.
756 North Limekiln Pike. This matter was considered by the board at its last public meeting, or I'm sorry, not your last public meeting, the first public meeting in November, and authorized the solicitor's office to oppose. At that time, it was an application. In going and attending the zoning hearing board last month in regard to this property, the applicant asked for an oral amendment of their application to include an appeal of the township's issued zoning violations. The board, the zoning hearing board did agree and allow that oral amendment. At that point, the hearing was continued to the December zoning hearing board hearing so that the township can present its case in regard to those appeals. Other than that change in the character of the applications, nothing else has changed in that regard unless the board has some reason it wishes to withdraw its opposition. The solicitor's office does plan, as previously authorized, to appear at the meeting on the 21st and oppose those appeals, to litigate those appeals and oppose the requests for variance.
Somebody's at the front door?
Would you, Mr. Fisher? Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any concern on the board? Should we just, do we have to reauthorize or just
You
continue?
do not have to reauthorize.
There's one question about not sending this lister?
No.
Okay,
Thank you. Those are the only two applications before the board that I'm aware of.
Do we know how to open?
You should know how to turn the lock off.
I think you might need to.
No, I think he just got it. He just,
No, it's an exit button.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, but it's locked.
That's,
People can't get in. Is it-
All you have to do is turn it off. Don't turn it off.
Push turn on.
It's just, it's all out of it. Oh,
just reading your
Does
text
the
now.
toggle switch turn it off? That's the question. Yes, it does. So it should be off, right? Did you?
I turned it off,
okay.
Thank you.
so the door locked.
Thank you.
Okay. Departmental update. Administration. Engineering.
That's quick.
Ready?
All right, you, ladies and gentlemen of the board, you have, in front of you, hopefully in your packets, first draft amendment. Hopefully our memo is also attached, which outlines our plan for the next couple months. We had a staff meeting last week. I think John is concurrence along with Dave Conroy about how to move forward. What I did was, we've talked about a lot of miscellaneous zoning ordinance updates, subdivision line development ordinance updates, stormwater updates. We did all the stormwater updates last year. I heard loud and clear from several board members of not to create another omnibus where guys are looking through 100 pages of documents, looking for a couple of changes. So you can, this time you can kill the messenger. I recommended make this down into topics for discussion. And then when we're all done in the next couple of months, one of the meetings will put it all together. The solicitor's office will put it together, and you will authorize advertisement of a zoning ordinance amendment and a Saldo amendment, which includes all the stuff we'll talk about over the next couple of months. I don't anticipate, or not anticipating, discussing in detail tonight, amendment number 1, which is in your packet, which is amendment to the woodlands, special specimen trees, buffer yards, and landscaping. Formatting wise, hopefully it's makes sense to Janine and myself and Dave, but what I tried to do was any changes, you have track changes in there. If we're taking something out of zoning and put it in Saldo, that is why we need to do both ordinances at the same time. We'll be doing that for some parking and traffic requirements in a few months as well. So you just have to be careful if it's zoning or Saldo. It's still all related to plants, landscaping, buffer yards. And the changes are not just my office, they're also Janine had a quite healthy list of prior zoning officers, managers, board comments, and we tried to put those together. If there's more changes you'd like to see within what we presented, feel free to do that. What I'd suggest is emailing me any comments you have. If it's a significant issue that needs to be discussed with the entire board, we can do that tonight or the next meeting. But most are technical, and you're going to see as we move forward, it's going to be highly technical with parking analysis, traffic study analysis, some updates to design criteria in the Saldo. Dave's working on the zoning. We gave Dave the list of all the zoning changes that have been kept with your staff for the last, I think, 10 years, maybe, off and on. And as new people come and go, people see other changes. So that's kind of a presentation as far as what we're gonna be doing. You're not authorizing anything tonight or the next meeting or the next meeting. So I think John and I spoke maybe March, April, we'll look at that. We'll see how January and February go. We're almost, and most of the stuff we're already, I'd say 75% along. We're just putting it all together and repackaging it to present to you. Hopefully you like what we did as far as keeping the same natural resources buffer plannings and together. And then in January, maybe I'll do the parking and traffic. Feel free to email me with comments, and if you have any tonight,
This is my only chance to ask this
Yes, it is.
question. What are you going to, how are you going to designate a specimen tree?
there's a definition in there.
I know, but what, we're talking oaks, we're talking maples, we talking a tree that's on a person's, their own private property, and they have a
Yep.
single tree that, they feel is being a problem to their home, they're now gonna have to go get a permit from the township to remove it? Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, well, yes, that's why you don't have that. That's one section that you do not have.
Right.
Other townships do. It's not broken in species. I think there's only one township nearby that did it that way.
So we're gonna create more legislation that makes it more difficult for people to maintain their properties as they see fit.
Or we're gonna provide protection for our natural resources.
Well, yeah, but if I have an oak tree on my property that is, next to my house and it's causing problems, or it's, killing the grass around it, or anything like that, and I want to take it down, it should be my right as a property owner to take my own tree down.
Not if it's a
I
three
shouldn't have
hundred
to
year
go,
old
yeah, that's, yeah.
historical tree,
So you want to start in being invasive to people's private property rights.
private property rights.
Yep.
We'll have to think about that.
Yes, you are correct.
Yeah.
There's other layers that you can add to that. Some township has gone as far as type species. The word historic or significant is in there. That's not well defined. So whether it's 300 or 100, that's debatable. There's a gray area there. So.
I remember a very old large tree that was here before it was torn down for this development right across the street. That should probably have been preserved. That was destroyed through development, just like the county builder's property.
So what
I
happens if
think
a
we
property
need-
owner doesn't want it can't get a permit to take the tree down?
Well, you're talking about a private.
Well, it
property.
says
That's still. in
shall
zoning.
be removed whether located within a woodland area or standalone without approval of the
So-
township.
So
So I have a tree that's growing near a power line and I want to have it removed. I now need to get a permit. The township doesn't want to give me a
Well,
permit.
I mean,
How do I get that tree
two
removed?
issues. All I'm saying-
Because I want to know how
We can move it to Saldo and it does not apply to everybody. That's very easy.
I see one of your comments there is zoning or saldo or both.
So that takes care of the property owner that's not developed. You can also either or, so that's the easier. There are some townships that have it only in subdivision land development. It's a waivable item. I'm going to suggest, based on my experience, you go that direction for land development, where part of a bigger development, we're trying to getting into police and individual properties. And it's again, enforcement, and you're not gonna be able to enforce
We
it.
can't even
And-
enforce the conservation.
Correct,
measures we
and
put
I
up.
agree with that. So but I didn't wanna, again, this is where we'll go next time.
This is my only chance to say
No,
something.
you're right, then I forgot.
So-
about that. So I would recommend you do subdivision land development only. Then I'm not too worried about the species or anything else, because there's provision there, that anything is not healthy, disease, a safety issue, there's already provisions in your ordinance for any tree that needs to be taken down because it meets certain criteria. So then it's a lot easier. It's also only related to land development projects. So anybody that's developing their property should be aware that they may need to, evaluate the trees and spend money for arborists to go out there. And I get that a lot. So
I just want to see people's private property respected. If it's a homeowner, with a tree that they want to have removed for whatever reason, maybe it's killing their grass, maybe it's providing too much shade, it's causing some damage to their house. We shouldn't create onerous steps for them to remove a tree that they want to take away on their property. I think that's ridiculous and it's overreach by government. So, and I love trees. I've planted over 40 or 50 trees in the last 30 years. So I don't want to, hear that I'm an anti-tree person. I just don't want to take people's individual liberties away. So.
the only other thing is and I'm not qualified to do this, but if you are worried about historic trees or trees that are 100 years old, then that's something you probably want to put in zoning, but I need to bring and consult with landscape architects or arborists on that, but that'll be where you could split it. And I don't know if that's ever been an issue in the past of someone removing a 300-year-old tree here, but I'm not saying that won't happen someday.
Usually by the time it's 300 years old, it's pretty much on its way out anyway. Now, we could only get homeowners and landowners to take down the dead trees that are overhanging our roadways and threatening everyone else's safety, but that's another story.
It is, but that issue was addressed at least part of subdivision land development, where we have roads and taking dedication of a new road, and how far back is it natural state? And we have provision there, any safety issues now, it'll be more clear that we have the right to force the developer to do it or go back and remove a tree from open space. That's a safety issue within any township, regardless of. We have it more on property owners falling on, their deck out back.
Oh, yeah, trust me, I fought for 10 years with property owners about dead trees falling on people's homes and had no recourse. So,
Till they fall.
until they fall, right?
Anything else?
No.
I'd just like to make sure that Greg, how do you know that you can come back and talk to us anytime?
Aggressive.
Just as big.
He just can't go through me anymore.
So you think-
One thing.
I've already lost everybody's phone numbers, don't worry.
One thing I believe was mentioned, the list, the plant, I think this is where it started, was the planting list. Yeah, way back. If you wanna have the EAC look at it or, any, that's something, or I think you should direct, township manager to, if you so choose to have the EAC review it. If there's any changes, they can just, deal directly with Janine and just, we'll look at the changes and come back and present anything that we, if we don't agree, then we'll come back, discuss and agree with it, we'll include it.
I had never looked at this, but I was wandering through a neighborhood earlier this year and I noticed a tree I'd never seen before. And of course I had to Google it and plant snap it. And it turned out to be a Chinese, what is it called? Golden rain tree. And I thought, how did a foreign species get planted in a new development if we only allow native plants? So I guess we haven't, which is what I've been told. So we do need to get that switched out.
And that,
Well, I would assume that the EAC and the planning commission would be both looking at all of these.
planning commission will get, ties, you'll get everything at once.
Oh, okay.
The AC is not gonna look at the traffic signal requirements of
No.
parking, so this would be, and then anything else that Dave changes in zoning, or I recommend changing in Saldo. If they're related to anything to EAC, then, I'll advise you of that or bring it to your attention. This would be the one that we thought.
I just have one other thought on this, and I haven't had a chance to really review it as we discussed earlier, but can we also put in something that any tree or shrub that has been denoted as an invasive, what do they call it? Department of Environmental Protection, they've denoted several bushes that are planted and trees as being invasive, such as the Bradford and Callery pear, the burning bush, barberry, etc. So going forward, so we don't have to revise the ordinance every time, some wording, and I'll get the correct wording in my brain, that
To reflect.
to reflect the state bans on certain planting of certain trees or bushes.
Okay.
To update it, so it updates itself automatically
Okay,
rather than
okay.
having to be reviewed.
Just that it would track the state's regulation and or statute.
I don't think there's statute, I think these are regulations, might be environmental protection.
All right, and maybe you could have the EAC look into that if they need to tweak it, so. So what I thought we would do is, this was a good start. You guys can obviously email, any comments, in January. I believe I'll be ready to do the parking and traffic. And at that time, we can circle back with any other additional landscaping or plannings, and then we'll just keep doing that for the next few months. Okay?
Thank you very much. Police, I think with the chief being out of town, we don't have anything for police at this point. Public Works, do we have anything from Public Works this week? And nothing from Park and Rec at this point? And Finance? Let's check it. Have a look. Board comment.
I would like to thank Greg for his time on the board. We were elected together 6 years ago and it has been an interesting and informative. It's been interesting. How can you not say that this
Oh,
job
it's
is not interesting?
been way too interesting.
Very interesting, very informative, and thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Enlightening, there you go.
I'd also like to thank Greg for his service on the board. We've agreed on some issues. We've
Disagreed on others?
other issues we've disagreed on. But you have always yelled at me in a very gentlemanly way, so. Sometimes,
Sometimes.
but thank you.
Thank you.
Somebody?
I would also like to thank Greg, I think. I should have gone first. No, I'm kidding.
We should have had a commendation or resolution or something.
Work.
We're staff, so we'll.
From a different angle, I just appreciate Greg guidance over the last 2 years, being new to the job. I've learned a lot. Thank you.
That's clear. I would say the same basic thing, except I'll also remember the 10+ years you served on planning commission.
Oh, it's more than that.
No, I have thought. Plus your work on land preservation 1, land preservation 2. We made a lot of headway those first couple times we went around. And of course, your work on the board for the last 7+ years. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate that. It's been an interesting 20 years. It's been 20 years, so. January would have been the 20th, so it's been 19 full years of involvement in the township and 24 years of involvement in the community between being an election officer and then a judge of elections and on the planning commission and the LPAC and the capital planning committee and involvement with everything else that my family has been involved in the township, supporting all the various township events, Santa runs, the Santa houses, being dressed as an elf. It's been a long road, and I actually don't really have any time of my adult life that I remember not volunteering as part of something that has to do with the township. So it's going to be weird, but it's going to be fine.
Actually get to have a life, huh?
Yeah, so the only thing I want to leave the board with is to remind them all that the township, this is for all 4 of you and the supervisor-elect in the audience, is that the township has been here for 300 years. So it's been here a lot longer than any of us, and it sure as hell better be here a lot longer than any of us after we've all been in the dirt for a long time. So please do right by every single resident of the township. Please, that's all I ask. That's all I care about. I'm still going to be active philanthropically in the township. That will never stop. So I care about where I live. So.
So you'll be dressed as an elf at Santa House this coming weekend.
Not this weekend. I wouldn't say that might not happen next year though, so, but anyway, so thank you all.
Okay,
So, sorry, Bill, before we move on, also Santa House this weekend, Friday and Saturday night. So Giant Shopping Centre, 5 to 7 PM. Choirs are on Friday night. No choirs on Saturday night, but we will have Santa arriving by the fire truck on both nights. So
very good.
And you
Thank
can
you.
purchase your tiles both nights. Your 300 tiles. Some of us will be sitting there selling
a beautiful Christmas gift,
a
There we
beautiful
go.
Christmas.
Hanukkah gift, Kwanzaa gift. All good. Sorry,
Gift for the township, from the township.
from the, of the township.
Okay. Action items. Is there a motion to consider payment of bills paid December 1st in the amount of $241,653.81
I'll make that motion.
to pay?
You pay.
There's a second. All those in favor?
Wait, we have to open up to comment.
Okay, comment.
My only comment is I get to say this for the last time. I can't believe Bill actually voted for this one.
I didn't vote for it. Yeah. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Carry. Motion to consider resolution 2023-26 2024 final budget. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the budget.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussions? All in favor of approving, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Greg?
Oh, yeah, sorry. I was being handed a piece of paper.
Okay,
He's already checked out.
No, I was handed there's a resolution coming.
That's right.
Oh,
That's
okay.
something not.
motion to consider resolution 2023-27, the 2024 tax levy. Is there a motion?
I will make that motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second,
Any discussion? All in favor of approving, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Didn't you have a comment to make there,
I don't have,
Mr. Chairman, that there's no increase in taxes for the coming year?
I'll get them all.
That's fine. We've gotten so used to no increases in taxes over the years, that I was very happy to see this happen. Have me signing paper. Okay, motion to consider resolution 2023-28. 2024 fund balance policy. For motion.
motion to approve the resolution as presented.
For a second.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Anything that needs, okay.
This is the same policy we've had.
Same policy,
Okay.
make changes, date.
Okay, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Motion to consider resolution 2023-29.
I will make that motion to approve motion resolution 329, the 2024 first responder recruitment and retention.
There we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second,
Any discussion?
I just want to say that I'm happy that this is still something that we're doing. This was something that we, when the state passed and gave us the right to pass this on to our first responders as a recruitment, it was something that we pushed pretty hard and we got, and it's done wonders for the fire company. So,
All those in favor of approving, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I
Motion to consider accepting a proposal from Howe Associates to collect residential and commercial recycling data and to prepare the 904 recycling grant application for a 3-year period.
I will make a motion to consider accepting that proposal.
Third second.
I will second.
Any discussion on it? Does allow us, of course, to get recycling money back from the state, so. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion to consider accepting proposal from the Minor Center for the Study of State and Local Government to undertake a recruitment search for the position of township manager. Is there a motion?
I will make a motion to approve hiring the minor center to conduct a manager search.
Is there a second?
I will second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Just leave over there again?
I did this, it's technically still fine. I mean, it's sure.
you still have a vote.
I know I still have a vote, but the next board gets to choose the next manager, so.
Okay, motion to consider resolution 2023-30, authorizing payment of certain disbursements that may become due and payable prior to a regularly scheduled board of supervisors meeting.
I'll make that motion to approve the authorization for the payment. I'm not gonna read the whole thing.
Is there a second?
Second,
Discussion.
I'd like to understand why we're making this change or why we're doing a resolution on this now. We haven't done this before.
It is an oversight that has not been done. You don't approve these payments. A violation of something. If you're authorizing these to be paid, you will get a separate bill list that says prepaid bills. Those that are bills that are coming under this, and then the regular bill list which have not been paid. You will approve that night. This was subject to part of my manager's report a week or two ago where he said that
So we've been
Should've
approved,
been done.
we hadn't had a resolution to be approving bills. Bills have been paid prior to our approval to date. No,
I asked several times why there's bills being paid on a weekly basis. And I got stared at. I didn't do research into the book, but because of the nature of the payments. Let's say, the contractor come up and send bill in,
right,
he get paid on Friday instead of that bill being held for you to approve it
Right.
prior to being paid.
correct.
That is the proper way,
To be doing.
the more correct way.
Okay, all right.
Situation is, we have recurring bills that come in every month.
Well, I don't think we have to approve paying our employees.
No, it's the utility bills and so you should get a payroll report.
Right, but anything unusual such as, the contractor bill or the consultant bill or that sort of thing.
So we have motion and a second. Any further questions? All in favor of approving, signify by saying aye. Motion to consider approving the agreement with Central Bucks School District to enforce violations of 75 PA, breaking 3345. Capture juice, using an automatic stop signal on.
I will make a motion to approve that. Let's get these people that run past school buses before they kill some of our kids. Yes, no problem.
I'll second that one.
Mr. Chairman, I can explain further if the board would like
Sure.
to delve into that. Effective December the 23rd of this year, the new statute 3345.1 takes effect in the Commonwealth. This program specifically is for an enactment. It's essentially a red light camera that goes on every school bus on the stop arm. And if it sees and senses a car going by, it will take a photograph. And then that photograph under this contract will have to be reviewed by the New Britain Township Police Department. It then gets sent to Judge Armitage for a $300 fine. That is a $300 civil penalty. It is not a criminal or traffic penalty. So this specific program does not come with the license suspension that usually goes along with a school bus violation. It does not come with the points that get assessed against the driver's license due to a school bus violation. It does not get reported as a points violation to insurance. This is simply a civil penalty. If it's a $300 penalty, $250 of that goes back to the school district. A portion of the remainder goes to the township for the administration, for the police actually reviewing the camera. And $25 of it goes back to the Commonwealth to support the program. The cameras are provided by an independent third-party contractor who has a master agreement with the school district. I have reviewed that agreement to make sure there was no conflict between it and the agreement that you're now considering. I spoke with Chief Clauser about it, and it is ready for your approval.
They could still be charged under the vehicle.
That is
statute.
correct. Yes, it can still be charged. The difficulty with the charge sometimes is if the driver cannot be identified, it's hard to make out that case. In this case, it doesn't really matter who the driver was because it's like a red light camera. It's a civil penalty based upon the vehicle, not the driver.
And can't be challenged in court.
Well, it can always be challenged in court, but the reality of the situation is it's a $300 civil penalty. If someone's gonna say it wasn't me, I mean, the police are also ready, willing, and able to take a look at the camera and say, well, we think that that's clearly you, so we can also charge you with the actual traffic citation.
So my next question is, are our officers going to be required to testify or be in court?
That is provided for in the agreement. If they are to be testifying or showing up in court, there is reimbursement to the township for that to happen. But there are circumstances under the agreement where that is a possibility, yes.
Because doing your math quickly there, we're getting $25. That doesn't pay for an officer overtime to show up in court and testify.
I pointed out the exact same issue to Chief Clauser when it first came up and we viewed it. He got back with the school district about it. The way the statute is written appears to allow and give the opportunity for the officer's time and the department's time to be paid, not just with that $25.
Thank you. Otherwise, that's an unfunded mandate for the township.
Any other discussion? We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
I,
Hi.
Motion to consider approving change order number 2 for the Chamonix Trail project in the amount of $108,889.95 due to unsuitable soil.
I will make that motion to approve.
There's a second.
I'll second it.
And can we please have some clarity?
Will be as what?
clarity.
Clarity.
So there's plenty of discussion going on leading up to last Thursday's meeting at the site with the contractor. GNA staff was there, the construction observer, and then Chris Stanford, your design engineer, was there. Originally couldn't make it. We advised him of the situation. He was the one that designed the project, and we are administering the contract now, and that's how it was set up. I believe you had this happen. There was a change order of $300,000 on phase 1. Turns out there was unsuitable material closer up to the pole barn, which surprised Ryan. Ryan gave an update to John, Janine, and myself last week. So there's 2 different areas, obviously along the creek. There was some anticipation of that. There was back and forth on how the bids were put together. There is a line item, which Janine mentioned in a memo. I'm not sure it made it your packets, but the contractor did quote $86 a square yard to remove any unsuitable fill or material. But there was no quantity since we didn't know how much they would encounter. It turns out it was quite a bit. The original number based on that bid item that was approved and awarded to the contractor was roughly $207,000. Based on discussion with Janine, my staff, Chris Baker, and everybody out there, we got the contractor down to $108,000. They didn't follow, they proposed an alternate using crushed concrete, which once it gets wet, it hardens up, provides more stability. So we didn't have to go as far down, about 18 inches versus 3 feet. That's in the specs that you approved. So it's just stone. So it's just stone with the concrete, and we actually saved almost $100,000. I don't anticipate any more areas. But until they're done, I can't guarantee it. Part of the negotiation was this was it. I don't have that in writing, honestly, but we had everybody look at everything, say that we believe this is the only areas of unsuitable material that had to be removed and replaced, so.
Okay.
And then the project is hopefully will be completed by.
I knew you were gonna ask that, and I didn't get an answer. With the rain coming, and I don't know, and I can get you an answer, and I can get. Oh, no, it was only 2 weeks. It's only a couple, could be done.
Yeah, it was less than a month, I thought.
Yeah, I think it was 2-3 weeks, so.
Is it 15 years so far?
No, as long as there's no 3 feet of snow coming,
I'm going to make my last official act to throw something at you if you use that word again.
I would like to thank John and the board and everybody. Everybody jumped on this. John and I had some phone calls. We needed approval for something like this. It couldn't even wait till tonight. The rain was coming, and then the contractor was waiting for some direction and said, I got a half a day here. I can hold out. So I thank the board for getting back to John jumping on that. I was communicating with people out in the field, and John was communicating with you. So we have to all get together and get something done. It was unfortunately I spent some money doing it, but I appreciate all the people that helped on that one, especially my staff that, all hands on deck for this one. It was a big change, and Ryan as well. I think Ryan was in training when John and I were trying to resolve the cost estimate. So he was there the day before and been involved, but he could not attend that meeting.
So we have a motion and a second. Further discussion, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
I,
Hi.
I know it hurts Greg. Motion to consider closing all township offices at 12 PM on Friday, December 22nd, 23.
I'll make that motion.
There's a second.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
I,
Aye.
Motion to consider closing all township offices at 1 PM on Friday, December 29th, 2023. Their motion.
Make that motion.
There's a second.
I'll second that.
Okay. Any discussion on that?
No.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Motion to consider the cancellation of December 18th, 2023 business meeting. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
You sure, Greg?
I'll second.
Almost didn't let Bill finish.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Is there any public comment?
Commissioner, I would like to thank Greg for his decades of service to the township. For Greg
You're
for
aging.
multiple things over the years, and I'd also like to ask to request that the agenda be posted ahead of time for our meetings. It's not on Facebook. It was not on township website.
Okay.
So it's all up to be able to slip this ahead of time.
Thank you very much. Okay, anybody else?
I just wanted to echo what Scott said about like you said about the posting of our meeting agenda, so our residents can see what's happening, but we do need to make that a priority going forward. I also wanted to kind of echo a little bit on what Supervisor Hood and Supervisor McCabe mentioned regarding conservation efforts and respecting our individual rights and our property. Going forward, we're going to need to be very careful and specific about how we work things. So we do balance that and make sure that we do protect, because I know I have a neighbor across the street who had a dead tree that I was able to get him to take it down. That would be really terrible if every time someone had a dead tree or something like that, we had to come. So we just need to be very careful with balancing conservation, which is incredibly important. But also making sure that we don't create, I don't know, a hindrance, an undue hindrance to our citizens.
Thank you very much. Announcement, this meeting may be being recorded.
Yes, sir.
I saw him push the button. I witnessed him pushing the button.
And may be posted on the website within 24 to 48 hours. And God willing, there will be staff on hand to make sure that the notices of our future meeting, which will be January 2nd, will be out there ahead of time, so everybody will know when the meeting is. It's scheduled for 6:30 PM at this point, and that would be because of swearing in new people. And we have to coordinate that with our district justice, so that's when that is scheduled at this point. If there's nothing else, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Seconded.
Any discussion?
I don't think you can do that, Greg. Oh, no.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all. Have a good, happy holiday.
Yeah, I mean, if you got a telephone number, give her a call, because I don't know if anyone's contacted her.
Yes, Eric mine.
It's supposed to like pop up.
She might have 6 or other.
Doesn't
What are you doing? What is happening?
Anything else?